What is up, guys, and welcome to another World Cup preview episode with myself, Roberto Rojas, and Fede Perez on Guarani Vision, the first ever podcast dedicated to Paraguayan football in English. And here to break down the Socceroos, our final rival of the group stage at the World Cup, is none other than James St. John Cox, a Australian based in Paraguay for quite some time, and obviously going to talk about the Socceroos, and I guess also the expectation from the Socceroos heading into the Paraguay game, because certainly it is a big game for both these two teams. Certainly on a Paraguay perspective, they haven't been to the World Cup since 2010. For the Australians, it's going to be their sixth straight since '06. So, they've gone better than anyone in this group. They're the team that's been to more World Cups successively than all the other three opponents that they're facing, including the US, which is crazy to think. But James, I'll get you right on the spot here first. Obviously you are Australian, but I do want to ask you that love for soccer. We could say soccer, of course, in this one because it is said in Australia. It is also said in the US. It's football, of course, in Paraguay. But yeah, firstly, your love for the game, and of course, what brought you to Paraguay?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been watching, worked it out the other day. It was 33 years ago. I watched my first game of football. It was a Premier League game in the UK and the first season of the Premier League. And since then, I've been a devout follower. Being a Socceroos fan was a little bit difficult because we didn't qualify for many, many years. Now it's six in a row. I as for Paraguay, I've been coming here for like 11 years now. My wife is from Argentina, but she's from the border province, Formosa. In fact, Paraguay was the first place I ever went to in Latin America. I landed at Silvio Pettirossi all those years ago, and her family came and picked us up at the airport. And eventually we decided to settle here, and I fell in love with Paraguayan football. I've been going to games all over, not just the Primera Liga. I've been to like cup games. I've been to second division, and it's just such a fun league to follow. Such an accessible league. I don't feel that kind of over commercialization like you get in Europe, especially. Having the last couple of years I lived in Spain and in Germany, and this has just been an absolute breath of fresh air. I love it.
I do have to ask you, what do you feel has been the most impressive of living in the country? Because, certainly it is also, from the world perspective, a lot of people don't know much about Paraguay. Obviously, they'll see them at the World Cup, and I think there's a lot of countries out there that they think, well, I don't want to be really rude, but maybe they say, oh, they don't know we can't even point it on the map. There are maybe some people that
I
say they get confused with Uruguay, whatever. But nevertheless, what has
There's that
impressed you
too.
so much about Paraguay and just everything involved,
Like
not
I
even just the
really,
football?
it feels like such a young country, and also like when I watch the leagues, like they're quite young. There's all this really interesting mix of very very young and some quite older veterans in some of the lower divisions that I really enjoy watching. I think there's actually a policy of having a certain number of youth players in those leagues. I think what I've loved the most is like Paraguayans are so open, so friendly, and so welcoming. Like I always feel wherever I go, I feel like I'm kind of part of it. People bring me into their tribe, and it's really fun environment to watch a game in.
Well, we love having you here, James. Welcome to the country. I love your story, man. That's why we wanted to have you also here in
Thanks,
our
bro.
show. First of all, let me tell you, you're crazy because you moved from Australia to Paraguay. I don't know why anybody would do that. Second of all, you're even more crazy because you're in Australia that's going to leave the World Cup in Paraguay. You're going to face us. So you're even crazier, man. So I wanted to know a little bit about you and the way that in Australia, an Australian fan gets ready to live this World Cup in our country and what you've seen around during these couple of days before the World Cup. You just arrived back to the country. I want to know what the feeling is of the Paraguayans also that you've seen around because it's 16 years back for us. It's so special to be back and you've seen it in the streets.
Absolutely. And I feel that same feeling I felt back in 2006 when we'd been out for so long. And it was just, I mean, when we qualified, we had a playoff match against Uruguay. And it was home and away. We had a draw in the second match. It went to penalties. The feeling when we scored that penalty is just unmatched, and the relief of all those years of waiting. And I get the same vibe here. It's just like it's the sheer joy of being there again, being part of it, not having to kind of choose another team to support, that kind of thing. No, it really, really excites me. And I appreciate you guys having me on, in this sort of getting to know your enemy kind of thing. I mean, but it's going to be such a crucial game for both of us because as it's the last game of the group stage, who knows what position we're both going to be in and what's going to be at stake. Maybe for one of us, it's already locked in, and the other one's, fighting for their life, or vice versa. Or maybe we both have already qualified. Maybe we both won those games to begin with, and it's like, this is an easy one. We'll see. It's a tough group. I think it's one of the most evenly matched. Especially by the Americans, we are being written off personally. They love to kind of diminish our soccer, as they call it. We're called the Socceroos, but we less say soccer these days. We've even changed our name to Football Australia. It used to be Soccer Australia. We're trying to get into the real world in that sense. But it's such an exciting time for us because it is such a young team. We've done a really good job of rejuvenating the side. We've got into previous World Cups with older squads, South Africa in 2010 in particular. We'd had that glory year in 2006. We had such a great squad, and they were way past it by 2010. And we got absolutely trounced in the group as a result.
Well, I have a question, and it has to do with the times that you guys face South American teams. Because I look at the record, and it's crazy, James. I don't know if you're onto these numbers. I mean, more than 59 games, and you guys only won 9 of those. So I'm thinking to myself, South American teams usually beat Australia. And right away as I look at that number, why has this happened? And can they turn that situation around with this new generation that you're talking about, or are they gonna get nervous in these kind of games?
But I think in the 5 times that we have faced each other, I think our record is a little better. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct. That is correct.
That's not the number I wanted to talk about, James, but okay.
Of course. In fact, our coach, Tony Popovich, he played against Paraguay in, I think it was a warm-up game in the early 2000s. So he knows you guys well. We have struggled against South American opposition. Like I mentioned before about the qualifier against Uruguay, that was the second time we played them in a qualifier. Previously in 2002, they trounced us. We didn't have a chance. And way back in 1993, Diego Maradona in Argentina came to Australia in the qualifiers for the '94 World Cup. I think it's a lot of people talking about their first World Cup memories. And for me, actually, that's my first memory. It's Argentina coming '93. It was Gabriel Batistuta and a very young Diego Simeone were there as well. And we put up a good fight. That first game in Sydney, it was 1-1. We were in with a chance, and then they had a pretty easy win in Buenos Aires in the return leg. But we dreamt. It was one of many heartaches for us. It's what we were used to. So that we've had to have that mental shift now, like 6 World Cups in a row. Like I was saying before, I think we're almost a little bit complacent about our World Cup positions, and we've come down to the wire a few times in almost not qualifying. And in fact, this campaign we sacked the coach after 3, or he resigned after 3 games because we got off to a terrible start. And thankfully, since Popovich has taken over, we've become a completely different team, mostly through a lot of personnel changes.
Yeah, we're obviously gonna look forward to facing you guys because you are a fighting team. You love that underdog mentality, just like
Yeah.
us, right? Heading into these kind of games. To me, this one is probably one of the hardest ones, especially if it comes down to qualification, right? Which it could happen, especially with this new format.
Yeah.
Who do we have to look out for, James? I mean, who are just 2, 3 names that you see in this Australian team right now, and you're thinking to yourselves, these guys are going to step it up in a game like against Paraguay or in this World Cup stage?
Well, some of our young guys that are coming through, like we've got Alessandro Ciocati, who is the main centre back for Parma in Serie A. He is an incredibly consistent and only 22 years old. He's just a solid rock at the back for us. We have an incredible left back in Jordi Boss. He's playing for Feyenoord, first Australian to ever win Player of the Month in the Netherlands. He is just such an explosive talent. And he'll probably be sharing the left with Christian Volpato, who has just declared his allegiance to Australia. So he's the dark horse for us because we haven't seen him play for the Socceroos, uncapped. And like overall, we got 17 of the 26 are playing their first World Cup. There's a lot of guys who are ready to make a name for themselves. 2 other names have to throw in. You've got Nestori Nkunde, who's playing for Watford, had a blinder of a season. He is an incredibly explosive talent. He's sometimes a little inconsistent. Some talk that he's probably going to be more of a super sub than a starter. But his partner in crime, Mohamed Toure, he made a move in January to Norwich in the English Championship, and he scored 10 goals in his first 12 games. So he's the striker we've been looking for, and that he went from being one of many options to the absolute, probably the first name on the team sheet.
Now, looking into obviously this game, and also just the group stage as well, because it is an open group. I think you can make an argument for all the four teams to either
Yeah.
finish first or last, or obviously in between. So everyone talks about a group with that being the France group with Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. I think this one is right up there, if not right there, hitting the post, as we say in Paraguay, pegar el palo. But really, what are some of the things that do concern you from this Australia side? I think, like you said, it is a team that, you know, for lack of a better word, I think they're going to have that underdog factor because they aren't among the
Mm.
world's elite. But that's also said for Paraguay and some other teams. But that being said, what does concern you about this Australia side? You did mention before when we were speaking how, they've been to six World Cups, that maybe you get a bit complacent because it's become the
Mm.
standard, but also it also raises the standard, especially since last 4 years ago when they pushed Argentina to the limit in the round of 16 and getting out of that group. So,
Yep.
what are some of the things that does concern you about this side that could go wrong if things don't get clicked well?
So the coach Popovich has said it himself that because it's such a young squad, sometimes they play a little bit within their shells. They sort of sit back a little bit too much, maybe don't quite back themselves as much as they should do. And that kind of that confidence can be bred within a group stage. If we can get a decent result in the first game, maybe they can sort of get on a bit of a run there. So there is a concern that sometimes they can be a little bit too defensive as well. They sit back a bit, wait for that kind of counter attack, which we can do well, but it's when we try and take the game away from the other team, we play much better when we try and when we actually dictate things. And against a team like a Paraguay in particular, that's going to be difficult. Like you guys are quite good at controlling the game. You have kind of the same kind of scrappy fighter spirit as we do. It's going to be such an interesting matchup there. Like, it's two guys who want to be the underdog. You can't both be.
It will be, but I do have to ask you as well. You've obviously been following us probably better than the average Australian. So, who are some of
Indeed.
those names that, if you had to talk to I'm sure you will, but your Australian mates, those who are going to watch the Socceroos and just anyone that,
Yeah.
who are some of the players that on this Paraguay side that you feel need to,
Look,
that Australia
so
needs to keep an eye on?
when I mention Paraguay to an Australian, the first name that they always mention is Alderete because he's playing in the English Premier League. So that Sunderland move has brought him into people's attention a lot more. I'm surprised by the lack of knowledge around your Strasbourg star. I think it's because he's playing in the French league that a lot of people don't really know him that well. And I think that this is going to be the World Cup where they will take note of him for sure. I'm telling them to look out for Mauricio as well. Like because in our country it's not uncommon for us to go looking around the world and find guys with Australian parents and grandparents playing in other leagues. Um, as I mentioned before, we've recruited a couple of Scottish centre backs who are one of them is going to play at this World Cup. Well, his brother, John Suter, is going to be playing for Scotland, and they're going to join that elite group of two brothers playing at the same World Cup. So have you guys having recruited from Brazil like that is something that we're quite familiar with, and we fully endorse. So it'd be really interesting to see how he goes. It'd be interesting to see how he gels within the team. You know what I mean? Like not having grown up in the kind of youth systems and for a Paraguayan club like the rest of them, it'd be really interesting to see how he fits in.
Yeah, no, we have a ton like that though, from Argentina, even from the case with Gaston Almeida. Okay, he was
Mm.
Uruguayan, but he played in Olimpia for
Yes.
quite some time, so at least there is that experience. He knows what it's like to be in a locker room as opposed to all the
Totally.
other guys. So no, it's gonna be a good game, and obviously it is the last game, so this could be the game that could decide who advances to the next round. But I'm gonna put you right on the spot, John, and thank you, James. Sorry, before I let you go. But yeah, what is your prediction for this game between Paraguay and Australia in SoFi and Levi Stadium?
Look, I am a realist. I absolutely love my team, but we don't traditionally do the best at World Cups. We're very lucky that the Asian Cup comes straight afterwards. It'll be in sort of January 2027, and we tend to use the World Cup as preparation for a tournament that we can actually win, and it's very much the case this time as well. So I think our young team is probably going to be a little bit overwhelmed by the occasion. There's a lot of guys who are definitely there for the future, but and also this the next World Cup is something to really be excited about. But I probably would see Paraguay, pulling off a gritty 2-1 win at this World Cup, and I think we're gonna fight as hard as we can against Turkey. We're probably going to go down to them as well. I'm going to get cop it from other Australians for this. For me, the prediction I'm making is that we're going to beat the US. So, yeah, that you're probably going to get the win that you need in that final game against us.
No, yeah, no, that's interesting. And I guess I'll put you because obviously you've been following Paraguay. How do you see those other two games for Paraguay then, for the US and against Turkey?
I also think you can beat the US. I'm overall predicting a very failed World Cup for this US team. I think that
That's
they're
not a lot of people, not a
not
lot
up
of
to
Americans want to
close.
hear that. Let's be real.
Yes.
That's
And I also predict that Turkey is going to be incredibly difficult. I can see them topping the group. To be honest, I think that Paraguay's got a really tough game. Which is you got the US first and
US
Turkey the
first,
second
Turkey,
game.
then you guys. Yep.
Yeah, and we're opening up against them, and I think it's going to be a sobering opening to our World Cup.
It's going to be a fun one for all of us here, and I'm kind of jealous, even though I'm based here in the U.S. and I'm going to get the chance to go to a game, but you guys being based in Paraguay, it's going to be really fun for any event. I'm sure the Australian
Yes.
community is also going to be locked into this game. It's at a good time as well for a lot of these Australians. It's late for us, but it's going to be good over there in Australia. So good timing for once at a World Cup. But James, thank you so much for coming on. Where can everyone find your work before we let you go? And yeah, just everything on
So
that.
on Instagram and TikTok, it's football in Paraguay. The thing I couldn't believe that the tagline "football in Paraguay" was still available when I thought of it. So easy to find, and yeah, and then I'm going to start building the YouTube and channel as well, same name. So yeah, look for me there, football in Paraguay.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for everyone listening to this preview about Australia, the Socceroos, as we close out another great episode of Guarani Vision for myself, Roberto Rojas, Fede Perez, and James. Thank you so much for listening in. See you soon.
Thanks, guys.